Hi everyone, my name is Zoranne and welcome back to another video. Today's video, I am talking about spring 2024 fantasy releases that I am super excited about. I'll be talking about books that are releasing this spring, so anytime between now, March, and May of 2024. And before I jump right into the video, I do want to take a quick moment to mention that I do have a subscriber community over on Bindery Books where we are working on publishing our first book together. That book is called And the Sky Bled by Ass Hati. It is a standalone climate fantasy that will be coming out this October, and it is a book that the Bindery community is publishing together. And if you don't know what Bindery is, it is a subscription platform that is kind of like Patreon meets publishing. And on the Patreon side of things, subscribers do get exclusive content from me, such as early access to YouTube videos like this. On the publishing side of things, subscribers get a front row seat to seeing And the Sky Bled become book shaped, essentially. So they've been getting to see what Sewell's editing process is like. They've gotten to meet Sewell for the first time. We will be revealing the cover to Bindery members first, very shortly, within the next week, before it ever goes public. All subscribers will be receiving copies of And the Sky Bled early, and depending on your tier, you'll get either a digital copy or a paperback copy. If you subscribe to the Sprite Friend $5 a month tier, you'll be getting a digital copy of And the Sky Bled. If you subscribe to the $12 Dragon Friend tier, you'll get an early paperback copy and your name in the acknowledgements in the back of the book. So if that sounds interesting to you and you want to get a front row seat to the books that Fantasy and Friends publishes together and support me as a creator, I will link my Bindery page down below. The first book I want to talk to you about today is Dragon Rider by Taryn Matharu. This comes out on April 2nd from Harper Voyager, and they sent me an advanced reader copy to read and review before its publication, and I started this last week. I'm only about 10% in, but I've really enjoyed what I have read so far. To my knowledge, this is Taryn Matharu's adult debut. His previous work is like the best-selling Summoner series, which I have not read, but I feel like if I was into fantasy in middle school, I totally would have read that series, but I'm excited to read his adult debut. This has also been pitched as one of the first traditionally published progression fantasies. If you like progression, like wuxia, progression, lit RPG fantasies that are typically self-published, Dragon Rider might be for you. Our main character Jai lives as a royal hostage in the Sabine court, and ever since Jai's father, who was the king of the steppe folk, led a rebellion and was essentially executed, and Jai and his brothers now essentially serve the emperor of the kingdom who killed his father. And at the start of the story, the emperor's son is betrothed to this princess named Erica, and she is the heir to the Dansk kingdom. They're kind of like a Nordic Viking-esque kingdom, and the dowry she brings with her is a horde of dragons. The emperor's son and this princess are forming this marriage as an alliance because the Dansk royalty are the only people who know how to soul bond with dragons and essentially are able to ride them. But at the same time, the Sabine court is in chaos and Jai's life is in danger, and he finds an opportunity to escape with a handmaiden named Frida. And they also may or may not escape with a stolen dragon hatchling, which of course only means bad news in a story like this. And now Jai and Frida are being hunted, and if they want any chance at survival, Jai must learn how to bond with this dragon hatchling, if it means finding safety, seizing his destiny, and seeking revenge on the empire that killed his family. The next book I'm excited to talk about comes out in 2 weeks, on March 26th to be exact, and it is The Emperor and the Endless Palace by Justinian Huang. And if these arcs are any indicator about how amazing this book sounds it's going to be, then I will be stunned. Because can we get a little moment for the edges? I hope this camera focuses. I'm not very good at using my back camera because I can't see myself. I'm a little scared, but we'll try it anyways. Yes, gorgeous. I've never gotten an arc with sprayed edges before, but I just want to read you a little passage from the inside of the arc because I feel like this describes the vibe of this book perfectly. And it says, "What if I told you that the feeling we call love is actually the feeling of metaphysical recognition? When your soul remembers someone from a previous life, how would that change the way you look at each stranger, knowing they could be the epic romance across all your lifetimes?" I just think that's so beautiful. I don't know. I love that. And it makes me like not even want to tell you the synopsis and just give you that piece of information and do with that what you will. But I'll give you the synopsis anyways. So The Emperor and the Endless Palace has been comped to The Song of Achilles, which is one of my favorite books of all time. So I hope this means that this book will destroy me emotionally. So this is a narrative spanning different timelines, and it explores the concept of love as like metaphysical recognition, kind of like what I said from the little passage I just read is like, what if you could recognize a person from your past life and knew that you loved them? Gasp. In this book, there's 3 different timelines, and we're following 2 men as they recognize each other across these timelines and fall in love over and over again. One is in 4 BC, the other is in 1740, and the third timeline is in present-day Los Angeles. And the two men we are following are drawn together over and over again across these timelines. And it almost feels like fate that they are meant to be together since they keep bumping into each other and recognizing each other's souls. As these men experience these different incarnations of their lives, they begin to understand the enduring strength of their love. And their love seems to be able to transcend time, but it also threatens their own existence. The next book I am so excited to get into comes out on May 7th, and it is The Brides of High Hill by Nevo. This is the 5th installment in the Singing Hills cycle. And if you don't know what the Singing Hills cycle is, it is a novella series in which we're following a cleric named Chi, and their sole job is to go out into the world and record stories, record histories, and their sole job is to bring the stories they record from the world and their adventures back to the Singing Hills Abbey to be then transcribed and essentially put into their archives. So each installment stands alone on its own because you're following Cleric Chi and their friends on the little adventures they go on, and essentially each story is a story that Cleric Chi records to bring back to the Singing Hills Abbey. And this 5th one is called The Brides of High Hill. I have read and loved all 4 of the preceding novellas, and they each keep getting better. Just something about the writing in this series and and I love the concept of weaving stories within stories and just the art of oral storytelling and recording that. And I feel like it is just so delicious. And I also feel like it really tells the skill of an author when they're able to pack so much emotion and depth and world building into short story. I feel like it is a special skill in and of itself compared to writing like an epic 400, 500, 600 page book, then to be able to like cram the same amount of depth and emotion in less than 120 pages. I don't know, it's insane, but Nevo does it so well. Okay, and in The Brides of High Hill, we are following Cleric Chi as they escort a beautiful young bride to an aging lord at a crumbling estate at the crossroad of dead empires. But of course, with Nevo's stories, there is a twist. Cleric Chi is struggling to remember some of the stories they've been recording in the past, and the lord this bride is supposed to marry has a young mad son, and he is wandering the estate grounds like a hanged ghost. What I've heard from early reviews is that this is one of the darker installments of the Singing Hills cycle, and it is a gothic mystery, which is something I really love. I hope Nevo nails the gothic elements, and I'm so excited to be back into this world. You can read these installments in any order. This just happens to be the 5th one, but they all stand alone on their own. But yeah, I'm so excited to get to this one because like I eat these stories up. The next book I'm very excited to read, and I was fortunate to receive an ARC of, and it is one of the most gorgeous ARCs I've ever received, and it is Evocation by S.T. Gibson, who is also the author of one of my favorite books of all time, A Dowry of Blood. I'm very excited to read this one, and I have very high hopes because I just read Gibson's An Education in Malice, and I didn't love it. But I have better hopes for this one because it is not set in a Dowry of Blood universe. It's supposed to be something completely different. Still twisty, still beautiful writing, still gay. So it should have everything I love. This comes out on May 28th. We're following our main character, David, who is in his 30s. He's a lawyer in Boston, but he is also a psychic prodigy. And David operates under the shadow of his oppressive occultist father. And years after David's father's death, and he's approaching his 30th birthday. But as David approaches his 30th birthday, he's very content with the life he's created for himself. He lives a relatively normal life. He's a lawyer in Boston, and also he moonlights as a medium for his secret society. But the twist is power comes with a price, and the devil is coming to collect on his deal. And so David could save his own life. He reaches out to the only person he's ever trusted, his ex-boyfriend and now rival in his secret society, Reese. And the only way David is going to get through to Reese is if he talks to Reese's wife. Can you see where I'm going? Thrust into each other's care, long buried emotions come up to the surface, and I believe we're gonna get a polyamorous relationship between David, Reese, and Moira, which I'm here for. So Reese, Moira, and David must figure out their feelings for each other before the devil comes to collect on David for good. I'm very excited to read this one. I have high hopes for it. Like I said, I didn't love An Education in Malice, but I love A Dowry of Blood. And so this is book 1 in a brand new series that I have really high hopes for. And I also think based on the cover, there's going to be use of tarot cards, which I already really love and I'm really intrigued by. And I really hope that this has Gibson's gorgeous prose that we all know and love. I feel like I couldn't end this video without mentioning like one dark, high epic fantasy that just like speaks to my soul. And that book is The Silver Blood Promise by James Logan, coming out on May 7th. This cover is seriously amazing, and it has me considering buying the Broken Binding edition of this book because it is the character, like the art that is included and the edges, like I'm very tempted, y'all. This follows our main character, Luke Gardova, who is a disgraced nobleman turned card-sharp thief who is seeking redemption after his father's mysterious murder. This takes place in a city called Sefrona, which is supposed to be teeming with traitors, thieves, and danger. Oh my. And so the story kicks off with our main character, Lucan, investigating his father's mysterious death. And in order to do so, he must go into the treacherous streets of Sefrona, where secrets lurk on every corner, and the truth comes at a deadly cost. I don't know how many books are supposed to be in this series, I just know that this is a debut, and the publisher describes this as for fans for Joe Abercrombie, Nicholas Eames, and Scott Lynch, which even though I have not read any of those authors yet, technically, I do love books that are for fans of those books. I just haven't read those books yet. So I feel like I would love it. Probably should pre-order this one. But I feel like the Silver Blood Promise checks off all of the boxes that I would love in an epic fantasy. I love treachery. I love secrets. I love thieves. I love murder in books. And I hope we get I hope there's politics. I hope and I hope there's secrets upon secrets upon secrets, because that's what I love. I love when there's a lot of layers and depth to it all. So I'm very excited for this one, and like I said, it comes out on May 7th. Alrighty friends, those are my most anticipated spring fantasy releases. Let me know down below what your most anticipated release is for this spring. There's so many good books coming out this year. It was very hard to narrow it down to just 5, but I didn't want this video to be a million minutes long. I'll leave links down below for ways to join the Fantasy and Friends community, whether it be the Fable Book Club, the Fantasy and Friends Discord, or if you want to join the subscriber platform on Bindery and get more exclusive content from me and support me as a creator, or get a front row seat to the books we publish together. I'm very grateful that you're here. Thank you for taking the time to watch, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, friends.